All right, so we got the parcel shelf up here where I can work on it. I really need a table. But to take the old Dremel to it, and basically we're just gonna carve this whole section right out on both sides. Get rid of that fur over there. Yeah, and that should be enough to clear it. I'm not gonna go nuts like popping it back in and test fitting it. I'm just gonna cut a big chunk out. Weight reduction, bro. I know I've said that a lot of times, but I can't sweat the small stuff. Meanwhile, she's looking some kind of good back on the ground with that roll bar installed. Damn. Looking better than Kate almost. Not quite, but. All right, so stay tuned. Next, we'll be popping this bad boy in there. All right, here's the finished cut on both sides. No idea if that's enough, probably more than enough. But I kind of followed the contours of the sheet metal. I think it looks pretty nice. It always kind of makes me laugh when I see online where people talk about how sharp this stuff is. It's obviously sharp. Look at it. It's jagged as hell. Even before you cut it, it's dangerous. But look at that. That shit will slice you deep. So I didn't always used to look out for future Ben, but here we are. So now I'm going to just take this nice little sanding wheel stone thingy. And I'm just going to go over here and kind of clean these all up since I don't have a deburring tool, and this ought to work pretty good. Slap it in and see how she fits. All right, here we go. Okay, first test fit. We dimed it over there, but we got to take some more off on this side. So can't quite get back to those holes. That one I pounded down. I don't think we might be able to get a screw in there. Probably not. So I could just honestly cut that right off. But I think what I'm going to do is just come down to here where this line is, basically. Yeah, I'm probably just going to chop him right off because that bolt's not going to line up anymore. I'll just come right across here. Then we should be good to slap him back in there. I fixed my gas gauge dealio again, the ground over here. So yeah, we should be good. This hasn't been in for probably a month, and I haven't had the gas cap thingy lid on, so it's probably a miracle that I haven't got burnt up, but YOLO. All right, so that's next. There she is. All lined up. Like I said, I just kind of took that tab right off where that's all pounded down anyways. Yeah, and we're clear over there. So I'm going to slap all these 10 millimeters in and find out where the heck I put the bolts to hold down that gas tank cover. We'll see. We got some good momentum going. We might slap the carpet back on, slap the tires back in. I don't know. All right, back at it again. This roll bar install's turned into a few days. Not that I've been working on it much, and that's actually why. But it's fully installed, and you'll notice I have my handy dandy jar of Mazda hardware, which has saved me so many times, because it turns out I have misplaced the screws that hold down the fuel sender cover. So I've been out and about today, driving around with it, and it definitely feels awesome and looks good. I've already got a couple compliments on it, but it actually, you can feel the chassis flexes a little bit less too with the extra bracing. But anyhow, all I gotta do is put the carpets back in, cut them to fit around the roll bar, and then cut the plastics too to fit, again, to fit the roll bar. But it was these guys up here I was missing. And I think they're that style right there, because that's what this one in the back that I haven't touched has. But I found a bunch of other gold kind of self-tapping Phillips in my handy dandy jar, so those fit the bill for this. So yeah, we're gonna put it back together. I noticed after the fact that I initially mistakenly bolted the seatbelt to this main bolt here with the spacer, and that did not work. Seatbelt is supposed to go on the little tab next to it. You see here, I still need to tighten it up. But there's a little hole out here, and that makes it actually line up much better with a reel. So then your seatbelt still works. So luckily I was able to unscrew it and move that over, and I could still get the bolt back in. I half expected that to shift when I unscrewed it and be a pain, but luckily it wasn't. Gotta fix the other side still. So that's kind of where we're at. Next part will be putting the carpet back in and doing a little fine Dremel work. Stay tuned. Carpet install in progress. So we got this back in here, kind of lined up with where the rivets go. Of course, I basically broke all the rivets off. So I'm going to see if the best website in the world for parts, also known as McMaster-Carr, has a nice replacement dealio. And we all know they do because they have everything. So basically what I've done is fit the carpet in, and then I just kind of notched out with my razor blade here where this roll bar sits through there now. And then I got crafty and I took the piece I cut, and that's going to live on this side. So I'm basically just going to maybe Velcro it or tuck it under so it lines up with the seam of what's already in there. And then when I get this all finally buttoned up, that'll cover up the weird spot where I had to hammer it down. Not like that. Little reuse. So we're gonna do the same thing over on this side. Basically, I'm using the holes to kind of line this up. I can see here I need to kind of notch it out around this roll bar in the same way. The rubber backing piece, the glue's dried up. It's 30-year-old glue. We'll see if I put that back in. That fits under here, because otherwise it's just a very thin piece of carpet. But we'll see. This will need to be trimmed down as well to clear between these guys, I'm sure. We might take it out because weight reduction, bro. You knew it was coming. I don't know why I say these things. All right, so we'll see. Stay tuned. For God's sake, don't overcomplicate this part. All you gotta do is just take your razor and notch on either side of this. Kind of keep sliding this in until it fits. Nothing crazy. So once it's totally lined up with everything, I just come right across here, snip it off, and then I'm gonna transfer it over to this side. Again, to cover up the little punky spot. Here we are with the rubber piece that we've trimmed. Basically just took the blade and cut off either side of it. We'll see if that's enough. I might cut off some of this fur too. That stuff's known for getting a lot of mouse peas soaked up in it, stinking. But anyways, I'll probably trim that up, throw it in the car, do a test fit. As long as I did cut off one mounting hole or one rivet hole on each side, but you still have the 3 in the middle to kind of hold this thing centered. So we'll see if I've trimmed enough off of it here. All right, I'm happy I put the rubber piece back in. Just kind of the feel back here, just that little half-inch or whatever piece of rubber makes this feel more like, I don't know, like it's supposed to, if that makes sense. Where if it was just the carpet, it feels kind of cheese-mo. But once you put in that little bit of carpet in there, it makes it feel more put together. Got this finished up. Trimming this, like we talked about, worked well. I still had to notch it just a smidge over there. But I am liking how this is lining up with everything. And once I get the fresh rivets in here, put a nice vacuum on here, and we should be good to go. Factory looking. With the difference being the sexy roll bar just sneaking through there. So yeah, looking prime. All right, so since there's a million videos like this online, of various Miata installs. What my channel is going to be, hopefully, is showing you some creative ways to do this stuff just a little bit easier. So, this is actually a tile saw for cutting ceramic tiles, which is one of my least favorite jobs, tiling. But it turns out that this kind of blade here is excellent for cutting plastic, where I actually used it to cut those soffits. I have a suspicion that when I'm cutting this last piece I need to on the driver's side, instead of it being all kind of ragged and not straight, I've set the fence here. I'm pretty sure that this saw is going to work swimmingly. I'm just going to kind of cruise right down like this, using the fence as a guide. So stay tuned and we'll see how that comes out. Take a look at this. This bad boy is straighter and smoother than the horizon or something like that. The tile saw with the fence worked amazingly. Don't be hating on these ear muffs either. Ear muffs. Okay? These are supposed to be for the lady and I to go shoot guns. That didn't work out. And they're the only ones I could find. And they're nice. Man, look at this. It's mint. Looks perfect. Looks factory. All right, this is the final part of this install. Have these nice little rubber caps that actually click right over the hardware, just like that. So you can't even see it. It's beautiful. So the only issue I have with this kit is, for whatever reason, the nut that comes with the seatbelt mount does not seem to fit on this bolt. So I don't know if it was metric or if it was imperial. Like it should, I mean, it should be imperial, but I don't know if it was maybe a coarse thread versus a fine thread issue. But I could not get the nut that they supplied with the kit to thread on here. So I went to the hardware store and they didn't tell me what they grabbed. Quarantine, you know, I couldn't go in myself, but I assume it was just like a fine thread issue. But once we replace that, get this on there. Get your ass on there. There. Man. Alright. Here we go. Once I put that nut on there, we are all done with the roll bar install. So now the seatbelt operates correctly. I got the plastic trim nice. I almost wish I took a little bit more on this side. I did a little bit better on the passenger side, but regardless, like I always say, after every modification, you must go for a test drive. So here we go. Peace out. Hope you enjoyed.